Go. Hey guys, it is time for NXT Battleground Predictions. Welcome to the 716 Sports Entertainment Podcast, where we are going to look at the six-match card of NXT Battleground coming to you guys live this Sunday on Peacock. And it looks like it's going to be a pretty damn good show. Probably going to be competing for the best show of the weekend. Yeah, we're gonna break it all down for you guys and give you guys our predictions. As always, I'm Mike with 716 Sports Entertainment, joined by Mr. Sean O'Neill. And let's break it down, Sean. So we got four title matches and kind of a blood feud and then a six-man tag. So let's start with what's likely going to be the opening match, which is going to be the NXT Women's North American Championship between champion Sol Ruca versus Kalani Jordan. So I'll let you kick it off. So who do you got and why?
So first off, you're right. This is probably going to be a real good chance at being the best show of the weekend. We mentioned it in our predictions video for AEW that it's probably going to be this, then AEW, then Saturday night's main event. So this is a pretty jam-packed weekend of wrestling for us and for all the fans out there. So anyone, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, keep an eye out for our videos. We're doing them for all of this. We'll have our normal predictions videos, our recaps, a whole bunch of stuff for you this weekend. As far as this match goes, though, I feel it's too early for Sol Ruca to lose the title. She pretty much won it basically a month ago. 2 months ago. It was the Mania weekend one, I think, right?
Yeah.
The storyline here is the fact that Sol Ruca and Zarya's tag team friendship keeps sort of getting in the way of things there. And Kalani only got this match because Sol Ruca said she would get it if she could beat Zarya. And there were shenanigans in that match, and Kalani ended up winning. I do like this version of Kalani Jordan where she's not quite a heel, but she's like way more aggressive than she normally is. And both these women are such tremendous athletes that it's going to be a barn burner of a match just as far as ring work goes.
Yeah, I completely agree with your point. Like initially, I just it's too early for Sol Ruca to lose the belt, and I think the eventual match that's going to come with her and Zarya will be when that title perhaps changes hands. But I agree with you. I think the match will be good. I really like Sol Ruca. I think she's definitely deserving of being that champion, and yeah, I think it'll be a really good match. Let's move right
It's
along. Go ahead.
I was going to say it's nice to see them giving Sol a chance now after she's finally gotten over the injury bug that plagued her for so much of her early career. It's nice to see her getting an opportunity to actually run with the ball here.
Yeah. Next, let's go to the family. We got Tony D'Angelo versus Stax, Channing Lorenzo. I don't know how I feel about this one. I feel like it kind of makes sense for Stax to win because, like, I think he needs it more than Tony does. Like, with him, with everything he did to kind of like, to break away and to sort of set himself up into, being a single star for a little bit here. And at the same time, I think it kind of completely defeats why he did everything that he did if he was to just straight go and lose. But at the same time, I'm of the mind that Tony kind of needs a win too. So I don't really know where I want to go with this, but I guess if I have to pick gun to my head, I think it's probably going to be Stax that gets the win here.
So I agree that it's going to be Stax that gets the win because the story needs to continue. However, I think Stax is going to get the win because either you're going to see Rizzo turn on Tony or the other guy from the group make a reappearance and help Stax as well. I think Stax ends up winning with an assist from somebody. That way it continues the story of Tony losing everybody around him. And I don't know if he's going to have to just win everybody back or start a new family, but I think it's going to go somewhere along those lines.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think you're right, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Stacks. I think just like yeah, full there, and yeah, there's probably like of all the matches that are likely to have shenanigans, I think this one most likely is the one to have shenanigans in it. Next, let's go to Hank and Tank and Josh Briggs versus the culling of Sean Spears, Brooks Jensen, and Nico Vance. Who do you got and why?
So this one, the bigger overarching storyline of this is the culling and Sean Spears and them going after Josh Briggs and how he can't seem to keep a tag team partner or a friend as like they're with him. How first he lost Brooks Jensen, who's now part of the culling, and then now Inamura left and went back to Japan. I love that Hank and Tank are having Briggs's back because I personally am a big fan of Josh Briggs. I think his look, I mean, he does need a little bit of help on the mic, but his ring work and as just a big guy, he is pretty impressive to me. And I think he has a pretty bright future. However, that being said, I think that the culling wins here, with the exception of Inamura coming back and making an appearance to prove the culling wrong. That's the only way that the Hank and Tank and Briggs team wins. But I think it's more likely to see the culling win and continue this storyline of Briggs pushing away everybody around him.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly see that happening, right? And I think that like if this match, the way this match were to end, I feel like Briggs taking the pin makes a lot of sense here. But I also think that Hank and Tank just won those belts, and I don't see them taking a loss here yet. So if they are to lose, Briggs takes the pin, but I think Hank and Tank get the win. Then maybe there's a post-match beatdown of some kind. Maybe somebody else comes
One,
out here. But I don't
one
think, I think,
possibility.
what's that?
One possibility, though, about Hank and Tank having just won is that if the culling wins, do we think that gives them the number one contendership?
Yeah, that's certainly possible. Um, yeah, I'm still gonna go with Hank and Tank and Josh Briggs. I think Hank and Tank just it's just too early for them to lose. I think they're carrying all that momentum after beating Fraxium. I don't think it's time for them to just, go into their first feud after getting the title and just lose. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna stick with that.
it
All right.
it
Uh,
amazes me how much people love Hank and Tank. Like
yeah, they're so
for
over.
just like as these goofy, lovable losers, them winning the title was just so big, and I'm surprised that the fans love them that much.
Next, we have the three title matches on the card. So let's start with the singles match for the TNA World Championship between Joe Hendry and Trick Williams. I think Joe Hendry is going to win this. I don't think that Trick is going to become the champion of TNA. That doesn't make sense to me. I think we are kind of slowly devolving Trick into either like a full-on heel turn or something is going to happen with Trick's character as a whole because maybe he'll go up to the main roster or something. But it doesn't make sense for me to have Trick become the TNA World Champion. And I think Joe Hendry needs a win. Like, I mean, I know the WrestleMania thing was kind of like just kind of like a joke spot as well. But I think they want to present their world champion and a little bit stronger than that. And I don't think they want him to like actually lose his title to somebody from another company.
So part of me was thinking Trick might win, and if he did, that it would come down to him only holding the title for a few days and then losing it to somebody actually from TNA. I'm real curious if remember how before Mania there was talk about Henry having a rotator cuff injury.
Hmm.
I'm curious if that's still the case, if he's still injured. Because if he is, I could see him then taking the loss. But I think as far as betting odds go, the safe bet is Henry retaining. And I mean, I hate picking against him just because I love Joe Hendry, but I just think that it would be weird to see another company's person carrying the main title for a company. Like if this
That's
were one of the lesser titles, maybe. Like if
yeah.
this were like the X division or one of those, I could maybe see there being a title change, but
Mhm.
not with the world heavyweight or for the TNA heavyweight title. And I mean, even if there's some sort of interference from a TNA person, I don't think that I don't think it makes sense to put it on a different company.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I'm gonna stick with Hendry for this one. Next, we have the singles match for the NXT Women's Championship between champion Stephanie Vacour versus Jordan Grace. Who do you got and why?
I think Stephanie Vaquer retains because with both Roxanne and Julia going up to the main roster, I think Stephanie Vaquer is going to be a tent pole down there for a while yet. As much as I wanted to see Julia and Vaquer as like the one and two, like how Becky and Charlotte and them were all together, I think that losing two big stars to the main roster means you need to have a big star of Vaquer's status at the top still. And I like Jordan Grace. I think she's fantastic, but I don't think she's ready to be the NXT champ yet.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think that had Julia, more specifically Julia than Roxanne,
Yeah.
had Julia not gone to the main roster, I would say that there's a strong possibility Stephanie loses here. But I don't think they're ready to call Stephanie up yet, even though they've had her have some matches on Raw, kind of showcasing that title a little bit. I think that now that they've officially got Roxanne and Julia up there, I think it's too soon, I think, for Stephanie. So I think she'll be down in NXT for a little while longer. I bet you she holds the belt for probably a while until the fall. I bet that's when she probably drops it, when they build up somebody a little bit more to take that off of her. Maybe even Jordan Grace again in like
Yep.
6 months or something like that.
I think it is going to be Grace that takes the title off of her, but I don't think it'll be for at least another couple PLEs.
So then last we have the NXT World Championship between champion Oba Femi versus Miles Bourne. I like Miles Bourne. I think he's a really great story. I really love, the character work that he's doing. I really love how the fans are getting behind him, I mean, especially with the hearing thing and everything else like that. I'm really impressed with him in the ring. I think he deserves everything that he's getting, but he's not beating Oba Femi. He's not beating Obafemi, and he is not the guy to take the title off of Obafemi. Oba's not going up to the main roster right now. It's too soon. The main roster men's card division is stacked right now. Oba would get lost in the shuffle if he was to go to the main roster, in my opinion. So I don't think it is time to take the title off of Oba. So I pick Oba retains.
So you're going to think I'm insane with this, but I think Oba loses. I think Oba,
Wow.
I and I also think Oba regains it at the next NXT taping.
Wow.
I think that Miles Bourne wins after multiple instances of interference in this match. We haven't seen really Dark State much. I think Dark State's going to interfere in this match. And on Tuesday, we saw the winner of the LFG tournament attack Obafemi during the segment between Miles Bourne and Obafemi. I think he's going to interfere as well. And I think Miles Bourne's going to take advantage of it. I also think the No Quarter Catch crew is going to have some sort of shenanigans in it as well. But I don't think they're going to their portion is going to be as big of a deal as like Dark State and the guy from LFG. And I think it's going to cost Oba the match because he's going to be distracted. And Bourne's going to pick it up. We're going to get that feel good moment of the disabled guy proving that anybody can be a champion. And then Oba's going to destroy him after the match and win the title back on Tuesday.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it. I just don't think so.
We
I
just
mean,
we need a payoff to this Dark State thing. And
I mean, do you trust? I mean, I trust the people in charge of NXT to do things right. I just like Shawn Michaels. I trust him to do the right thing with stuff like that. I don't know.
yeah,
I just sour taste in my mouth for factions like that because I think back to Retribution and I think back to the Nexus, and
yeah.
I don't know. I don't trust WWE to often do the right thing with storylines like that. But I mean, maybe they'll surprise me.
If this weren't NXT, I would not trust them to not bury the faction. I mean, hell, do you remember the League of Nations faction? We know how factions go on the main roster. NXT generally does factions pretty well, though.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I think overall this is going to be a really good card. I think every one of the matches is going to be excellent. I mean, they always say that AEW is where the best wrestle, but I got to tell you, I think NXT is where the best wrestle. So, like, I think this card is going to be awesome from top to bottom. Every match is going to be a barn burner of a match. And you're right. I feel like we kind of got to get a surprise in there. So, like, I'm sure one of these matches we will see a really fun surprise or a swerve. And maybe you're right. Maybe Miles Bourne will capture the, I was almost going to call it the AEW World Championship, but we know John Moxley's never dropping that one. So,
Nope.
let's go with it. So yeah. Um I don't have any other comments on this card. I think it's going to be great. As always, guys, thank you so much for joining us as we did our predictions here for NXT. We will have our Friday Night SmackDown review for you tomorrow for the Go Home show for Saturday night's main event, as well as our predictions, our official predictions that go towards the count will be available for you guys in probably the next 24 hours or so. So thank you so much for joining us. As always, smash that like and subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Have yourselves a great evening and take care.